What's up, everybody? Well, on a podcast now, I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about why I'm getting Battlefield 6. This is a video series I do where I talk about an upcoming game and talk about whether I'm getting it, not getting it, or I'm somewhere in between. And this is one that, you would say, oh, it's a slam dunk. And of course, I guess I'm making this video, so I am getting it, right? But I would say it's not always been a slam dunk. This is a game where the belief has been growing, right? And as time has gone on, look, to be honest, the beta did so much of the heavy lifting for this game. They've talked about it. They've shown off trailers. They've done interviews, and they've done, I'd say, a really, really good job. With that being said, at least at the time I'm recording this, there's quite a bit. The game comes out in like 2 weeks, and like the story, is it not launching with a single player campaign? I don't know. I guess it's not. And then the Battle Royale, I think has been rumored that it would release kind of at the end of October. Look, for the most part, the game has always been multiplayer for me. Now, that's not to take away, there has been some really good single player. I look back at, I think Bad Company 2 single player is actually an incredibly good single player game, just period, not even just a military shooter. And then I kind of grew up with Battlefield with 3 and 4. Those were the real big ones that I spent hundreds of hours in. And 3 and 4, I thought their campaigns were definitely serviceable, if not better. So it's not to say, I don't need a single player. No. I would definitely like it, because I also don't want to think that I'm spending $70 to just play 9 multiplayer maps or whatever. I would like the Battle Royale, even though I'm not really going to play it all that much, but I also would like a single player mode, even though it's probably just a one and done, right? You play it once and it says it's forever over. But no, this is a game that has been growing, and you want it to be good. You want this bounce back for Battlefield. I've talked a lot about that, on the channel, just to have some freaking competition, just to have another game out there that is serviceable at worst, right? And they can just do it. It's as simple as that. Just to show, specifically, to be honest with you, Call of Duty, that, okay, you have to, focus. You have to try to improve year over year, because I just think generally in that military shooter genre, there is so little innovation. There's a lot of complacency. And it's really because, well, why do you have to, do anything? Why do you have to try to improve? It's because there's no other games out there to push you. So we always talk about with EA sports games. Or funny enough, it's EA, right? The sports games, there's nobody to push them, so they never get better, because you only have one choice. You could either get us or get nothing, and people choose to get them. So when it comes to Battlefield 6, I played the beta, pretty okay amount of time, loved it. I really, the map started getting repetitive, I would say, after I was playing it 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, but I really did have such a fun time. I went back and I actually played Battlefield 4's multiplayer and maybe had a more fun, just because that was kind of like the golden age of Battlefield to me, but 6 feels really good, and I guess that's kind of why I wanted to go back into 4. Is okay, well, what makes it special? The maps are such a special part of any good Battlefield multiplayer mode, but I think so far what we've seen of the maps of 6, they're definitely, again, I would say serviceable at worst, and then really good at best. I don't know if there's any incredible or amazing ones, but there's definitely ones I think that are better than others, but it just feels right. You got all that destruction coming back. They're simplifying it with the class system, just the dragon heal, situation they got going on there. I cannot believe we've never had something like that before, but it's a godsend. No, the game is just, at least it was in the beta, it was so much fun to play. And to be honest, what we've really learned since the beta is the things that kind of were more say over the top or more Call of Duty-esque have actually been toned down. You had all those videos of people that I'm not a big fan of, right? That kind of treat it like something it's not. The ADHD kind of camera situations that you might have seen on Twitter or something. There's people playing it, I think, not like Battlefield. And really what the response was please fix this, but also can we not do this? And really in response, EA and Battlefield did it. The game, I think, will end up actually moving a little bit slower, and the camera will be a little bit slower, and really, and what that shows, by the way, is not just that situation, but I think it just shows that willingness to listen and to learn. And really, that's where I feel the best about this game, beyond being able to play it in the beta and actually having that experience, right? But going into it and thinking, all right, like number one, they have no choice but to try, right? There's so much pressure. And, I talked in the beginning about like the pressure on COD. I don't want to take away from, there's pressure on Battlefield. And that kind of internal pressure, by the way, you have to kind of have that internal pressure before you start like pressuring other games, right? You have to be the best game you can be. You have to want to fix the situation from the past Battlefield games in order to even begin to start to say, okay, well, now we can kind of take on these behemoths that are out there. Look, you can dethrone COD some other day. All right, I don't really care. It's a fun story. It's a thing to talk about. I don't really care about dethroning COD. Be the best Battlefield game you can be, right? Take it back to basics. Take it back to what Battlefield is. You listen, again, to say about what about the skins, right? Like Call of Duty's definitely lost its way with those kind of collaborations. When they're asked, they're pretty open and they say, no, this is the type of game that it is, and at least for the foreseeable future, like we're not doing the Nicki Minaj kind of, like that's not going to happen. That kind of stuff, again, you can take it as the, force against competition of other games, but what about just being the best Battlefield game? And that's where I feel good, even if it comes out and it's a serviceable or it's a good game, but maybe not an amazing game. I feel like there's pressure within them to improve it. And this is a game I feel more comfortable with kind of like seeing how it goes, right? Kind of like following them through the ups and downs versus other games. So maybe it's not like the ultimate game I would do this with, but I just feel because of the way they talk and the new leadership, right? There's some people that have done some incredible things, not just with Battlefield, but with some of the better Call of Duty games or Medal of Honor and stuff like that. They got some really good leadership back at EA and back with this Battlefield team. So even if it comes out in a more iffy state, I feel infinitely better with it than I have in the past, and I have with other games, because I just feel you really cannot let this game be a fine game. The game needs to be good, if not great. And so even when it comes out, there's going to be that pressure to constantly improve. The like DLC maps down the line have got to be good, and I'm sure they know that. I like that pressure. That's really what it is, and I'm happy to kind of be a part of it. To be honest, a small part of it, but this is a game that I think has so far earned my purchase, and I feel good about that. And then it has to continue. That's the thing. Many people are going to buy this game, not just me, but it's got to earn it even after you buy it. And that's where the single player comes in, the battle royale, the updates, making sure that if there's something off that you fix it as quickly as possible, and then just keeping the game alive, because that is a huge aspect of these type of games. Even I'm not a huge fan of that kind of genre, but for a Battlefield game, you got to do it. You got to keep this game alive for several years at least, right? So there's also pressure to make it work, not just for 2 months, but for 2 years. That should keep the quality higher. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.